What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Bytesize Security. My name is Jimmy, and today we are covering another Hack the Box machine. Namely, we are going into the last easy machine for the Linux boxes, which is called Soccer. And I know it's been now almost a week and a half since I've last uploaded one technical video. The last video was just kind of like me talking about cybersecurity in general, and I know you've been wanting me to do another box, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so as usual, I have my different windows open. I am connected to the VPN already, as you can see here, and let's just begin with the recon. But first I will create the folder and I'll just show you how that goes. Prep note Soccer, and this will create not only the notes here, but it will also create the box here as a folder. So let me go into Soccer. I believe I had created it before but then deleted it, so this one will not be up to date, so I'll have to open that again like so. There you go. And then in here as well, everything is created already. So in the terminal, we can go into enumeration and then external and begin. So as usual, I'll run recon on the IP like so, and then I'll go below and I'll run scan on the IP as well and call the output initial. That we do every time, and that is not going to change. I'm going to put the IP here just for because it's useful, so I can reach it quickly, and I'll just give all of this a minute to complete. Then I'll clean initial, and I remember there's been some comments in the comment section asking me what clean is, so I'm just gonna show it one more time. Let me just make this a bit bigger, font a bit bigger, there you go, and then show you the alias for clean. It's a sed to clean up the ANSI characters. Let me show you that really quick as well. Here, where is initial? Oh, there. No. Oh, okay. So this is not within Soccer yet, so let me just move that. Initial and put that into external. There you go. Let me close this and open it again. And then let me look at this. See, you can tell that there is a lot of ANSI text, and I really do not like that. So that is why we clean that always and paste the save the output into rustscan.txt, and then we delete initial like so. And then we can look at the rust scan again, and it's much cleaner. We then paste that here, and we can see we have two ports, port 22 and port 80. So within enum external, we can create two notes, one with 22 SSH and one with 80 HTTP. Then let me just create nmap like this, and we know we're going to do that here as well, so let's paste it. Then what I will also already do, just to be thorough while the rust scan is doing its thing, is I'm going to run SSH audit already on the IP, just so that that is done. Save the output into audit like so. That is usually very quick. Clean audit and save that into SSH audit like so. Remove audit, and then take that output as well, go to SSH, and then that recon is already quite finished, because as usual SSH is not the attack vector. I assume everything seems to be okay and up to date. When it comes to Hack the Box, SSH is normally almost never, I don't want to say never, because I'm sure there's cases where it is, coffee break, almost never the attack vector. With that being said, let's go into our scan, and we have another port, 9001. 9001. What is that? I do not know. Will there be an nmap? We shall see. So let's take the nmap in SSH, paste it here, and that is done for port 80. So we can then straight go ahead to 80, and we can see right away that we are wasting our time with port 80 as it is right now, because it is redirecting every request to http soccer.htb. So what should we do? Let us cancel this auto recon because it is no use to us as it is right now, and open our hosts file, take the IP and do soccer.htb, and now run recon against soccer.htb, and that will then do its thing. What we can, however, do is, okay, what can we do? What we can, however, do is browse to the website. So let's do that. So we go to HTTP. By the way, I know you have noticed I have a different background. Anyway, so let's go to soccer.htb. And we have what appears to be a static page. So while auto recon is running, let me name this recon. Let me name this FF, because I usually, while recon is running, like to do FF in case we have a page like this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to split this, and on the top one I'm going to say ff-u for the URL, http, like so, and then we're going to say soccer.htb/fuzz-w for the word list, and then we're going to go opt seclist discovery web content directory list, and then we're going to take this is Linux, so case sensitivity is important, so we're not going to take the lowercase one, and we are going to take the small one just for now. Then we're going to do IC to ignore the comments of the word list, and then should we do AC as well? Sure, let's just go with AC. AC is to automatically filter. Do you remember sometimes when you do FF, it will have status codes that are all the same, or word sizes that are all the same, and then it will just give you a lot of output? AC filters that automatically. And then we're going to save the output to, before I forget, let me go to here and do HTB perm to give me permissions in this folder. Perm like this. You can see this is just to give me my local user permissions back in this folder so I can write. So we're going to save this to results, soccer HTB scans. We're going to go to TCP80. Then we are going to go to GoBuster Dearbuster, and we're gonna remove GoBuster and say FF. There you go. I think this should be okay. While that is running, what is this? Oh, I forgot something. My bad. Let me just go back in here. Close this, open soccer, 80, and delete this. And then after, we're going to go back into copying all of the output into my notes. Don't worry about that. I'm just skipping ahead a bit. What I forgot is extensions. Never forget the extensions. So E, and then we can do php.txt, HTML, and HTM. That should be good. Okay, and then let's go back to our notes. This I can close for now. And let's go here and do what we usually do. The nmap is not finished. The quick scan is. So let's go into general information and paste that here. So we have that port 9001. What is that? Unrecognized. Okay, fair. Let's go with what web. What web. Then screenshots we can take ourselves. Like so. I don't know if I remember telling you guys, but I found a new screenshotting application which I really like, and it's called Flameshot, as you can see. Perfect timing right there. It doesn't bug out on me. It doesn't necessarily dislike me going into my second monitor or third monitor, so it just works, and I like things that just work. Let me just bring my microphone down a tiny bit. And so after that we have Nikto, we have curl, and what else are we gonna have? foff, of course. So let's start with Nikto. Probably not done. Curl. And then the screenshot we have. Let's see if the nmap is done. No. Here we have a couple folders already from GoBuster, so let's not ignore that. I know I like to run my own directory brute forcing, but if auto recon does it, what's the harm in paying attention to it? GoBuster. And here already I can see that I have 1-200 status code. Is that it? That seems to be it. So that is the index here. We seem to only have this static page. Yes, very static. Let's see what our GoBuster's foff is saying. The fact that it is pasting out everything here, giving this output, is just because the window was small, and then it does that. I don't know why, but that's okay. What's important is the output, which is here. We have nothing yet. Did I make a mistake with that? Let me check. Curl. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So foff, let's do a vhost brute force. So let's check for subdomains, right? So we do HTTP again. Soccer.htb. Let me see. Is it? Okay, yeah, no, that should work. H, and then host like this, and then fuzz soccer.htb. Yes, that seems to be correct. And then W. Okay, we found a directory. And then we go to seclist again, opt, seclist, discovery, no, sorry. Yes, discovery, DNS, subdomains, and then we take the 5000. Here we are going to have to do something with the filtering, but first we ignore the comments. And let's just run that for now and see what kind of error it gives me. There you go. So depending on what it gives you here, you can either filter for the status, for the size, for the words, or for the lines. I like to, it really doesn't matter, but no, I didn't look. I like to filter for the size. So I do FS, filter size, and memory, there you go, 178. And that should be it. Did I forget anything else? No. So I'm going to save that again to results, soccer, scans, 80, FF, but I'm going to call this not Debusster, but vhost, like so. And that should be running through the word list quite quickly. There you go. Let's see if we found an interesting subdomain. Why is the nmap taking so long? So we have another directory called Tiny. So let's go to that. Server not found. Let's try again. Okay, it is giving me something. Tiny file manager. Why is it so slow? Is it maybe because of this? Okay, so we didn't find any vhost subdomain. That is okay. Let me also take some more notes. Nikto. I didn't put anything here yet. Okay, everything seems to be a bit slow. I really don't like that. Oh, there you go. The nmap is done. Let's see. Do we have anything here? Vulnerable to some type of DOS attack? That is not interesting to us. And we have a web server running Nginx. Nginx, sorry. I promised you the last time I would no longer call it Nginx. Nginx. There you go. Okay, so we have the nmap, we have the GoBuster. Let's paste the FF. FF like this. Go to here. I know this is also ANSI, but for some reason I cannot clean that. I've tried. It doesn't work. Anyway, let's go here. Okay, so we've got an interesting little web application here. Tiny file manager. So let's collapse all of this. Collapse, collapse, collapse. Like this. And then we open a new one and we just call it enumeration. Or like fingerprinting, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same anyway. So we can see, no, sorry. If I could write today, we have found a directory by using FF. Sorry, we have found a directory called, what's this? What the? Tiny. By using FF and browsing to it reveals this tiny file manager application. Let's see. Admin. I always try that right away. That won't work. Okay, everything's slow. Let me just shut this down for now. I think it is making everything slower. Too many redirects. Yeah. All right, and let's just go to Google and see what this is. Tiny file manager. Akzeptieren. Let's go here. By the way, I'm not German. I speak it though, but I'm not German. So, web-based file manager in PHP. Interesting. Manage your files efficiently and easily with Tiny File Manager. And it is a simple, fast and small file. Oh, it is a simple, fast and small file manager with a single file. That sounds incredibly secure. Okay, very interesting. Let's go to, wait, let's take a screenshot of this. And then let's go to the GitHub. See what is there. So, Tiny File Manager is a web-based PHP, blah, blah, blah. Documentation, how to use. Default username, passwords. Okay, let's take a screenshot of this. The GitHub repository reveals a documentation about the application along with some default credentials. Let's try them. Where were they? There. So, let's make this nice. You know me, I like neat. So, like this, and like this, like that, like that. Clean that, like this. Yeah, that's about right. So let's try admin and admin at 123 without the space that I saved. Oh, okay, and that worked. So we are inside of the main web application. That worked. Wow. Like I said, super secure. First things first, let's see what we have here. We have indeed a file manager. There's some files here uploaded, all running as root, so we do not have any permissions here. This, however, looks interesting. Let's go there. And some more Tiny File Manager PHP. So that is this whole application, which is running here. And then we have uploads. Uploads, there is a button here. So what we are going to do is run but and here. There you go. And then we're going to play around with this website. Let's go back to the nodes. Do we call this internal? No, we're not yet internal. Okay, so what are we going to try here? This I can close. Let's go to the home directory. Let's do external. No, we go to exploits. Oh, actually, no. One thing first is this. Thing we notice is the version of the application. Always find the version of the application first. Okay. Yeah, just copy that link with it. And then we're going to Google for that. Oh. And then we're just going to say exploits. But before we do that, we do it on Searchsploit. So we have a remote code execution here. So Searchsploit X, just to read it. Authenticated RCE exploit. Okay, let's go into Google. Proxy, history. Let's go back here. And then we should have it here. Is everything going to be... like that. There you go. I want to add this. Update is ready to install. I don't want to do that now. There you go. I want to add this to the scope. Yes. And then here I want to show only what's in scope. There you go. That's why I just did that. And then I'm going to go back into Tiny. There you go. Perfect. Because now Burp will only show me everything that is here. So now I can go onto Google and type this, and it won't pollute my Burp because I like things that are neat. Anyway, so we do have exploits, a lot of them actually. Let's go to a blog and not a guide. I don't want the exploits, but I see that it's a path traversal. Okay, let's take a note of this. Googling the application and its version quickly reveals that the application is vulnerable to path traversal vulnerability. A path traversal vulnerability. But let's look more into that. We said blog. This looks like a blog. So this is Febin. Hello, Febin. Open source software for my research. Tiny Farm Manager. There I found some blah 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 blah. Developers will reply back. I patched the source code. Okay, here's the good stuff. It's a PHP based software. We know this. Yes, okay, so there's an upload vulnerability. And we can upload. Okay, let's test this out. And then I'll explain. Let's create test.php. And let me say echo yeah, like this. Echo hello world. I don't want to make a mistake, that would be embarrassing. Like this, into test. That should be correct. Yes, that should be correct. And then let's try and upload this. Are we listening? Upload. Workspace. Hack the box. Boxes. Soccer. Exploit. Test. Did it work? Post. Let's go here. And there we have this page. Okay. Let's zoom into that a bit. Status success if we do the path traversal into var tiny / shell. Okay. So let's try that. Let's go here. Yes, okay, so that is the same. I was just making sure that the Hack the Box box is the same as in the guide, because it could be a different application or just modeled after that blog, but not actually like the blog. But then what we do have to do, yeah, let's just try that. Error. Okay, so that doesn't work. Probably made a mistake there, but for now that doesn't work. Let's see. Full path parameter. Okay, so let's take the blog, post that into our notes. This blog explains the vulnerability. But let's explore. Actually, it makes sense that this didn't work, and I'll show you why. We tried going for a quick win, but that failed. I can show you why that didn't work, and that is because we don't have permissions. I'm guessing we tried uploading to here, and we do not have permissions to do that. So let's explore. Maybe we have permissions here. I don't believe so, because again, in here everything seems to be six is, so it's read, write, execute. And 4 means the right permission is not given. Wait, so let's see this. Permissions, Linux, numbers. I think this is how I can find it. Yeah, so 7 is read, write, execute. 6 is read, write. Okay, so this page, here we have read and write permissions. Well, root has read and write permissions because it's 6, so the first number, and then the user and all, so like guests, have only read permissions. So it's 644. First number is for root, second number is for the user, and then the third is for all, I think, or group. I should know this. But let's go here, because here we have more. 5 is read and execute. Okay, so let's go to uploads. Okay, did we write something down? But that failed because we don't have permissions to write to the directory. There you go. Let us try upload to, what's the directory? Tiny uploads. Let's try and upload here. Test. Okay, there was no pop-up. I believe that worked. Here. Yes, that worked. Perfect. So let's do that again and take a screenshot of it. That seems to have worked. Okay, let's go back here and go to uploads, and we have our test file. Why is there 2? Did I do that twice? Oh yeah, with the repeater I did it a second time. So if I, do we have some sort of uploads folder? Wait, if I go to upload, let's go curl http soccer http tiny, let's try uploads, and then test.php. Let's do curl s. Oh, okay. So we do have http soccer. So you usually have like a uploads folder that is either called upload or uploads or something like that. So you can just try and browse it. Test.php, and we have hello world, and it executes PHP. So that is brilliant. So yeah, this is our attack vector for sure. This is how we can get a reverse shell back to our machine. So by browsing to, okay, so wait, let's go one by one here. We can see, oh, actually, I was not a genius here. It says literally tiny/uploads is the folder where it's at. So I should have just read instead of assuming, but my assumption was correct. So it's a bit of both stupidity and intuition. Anyway, let's paste that here. By browsing to /tiny uploads, we can see that we can see our file, and through a curl we can confirm that not only can we upload .php but also execute it like so. So what's the next step? Let's create touch shell.php, And then let's do echo. And then like this, PHP. Then we do system $get CMD. Like that. And then close that bracket like that. And then close the PHP like this. That should be correct. Okay, you know what? Let's just do that here. Exploit, no, here, exploit shell, there you go. But in here we don't need those. Like so. So let's try and upload that. We're in the correct folder. Shell. Like this. This is uploaded. Let's confirm. Shell PHP. And let's do curl. Shell PHP CMD ID. And that worked. There you go. We've got command execution on the application. So we can just try to upload shell to the application. The shell. Like this. Upload a Is that good? Yeah, sure. And then again, use curl to execute it. So with that being done, we can now do ID switch plus, because it's URL encoded, so we can do spaces, and then Python 3, because I love doing it this way. Our file has been deleted. It took too long. Let's do it again. Shell. That's uploaded. Let's try that again. There you go. Python 3 is there. So what do we do? It's because of the nodes. I want to do this thoroughly. So if we have to upload it 6 times, that shall be it. So we first try to confirm whether Python 3 is on the system. Like this. I'm in screenshot mode today. Like that. And it is. So once we have confirmed this, we can go to ref shells. Take, oh God, what have I done? Reset all panels. This happened to me before. Please, 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 please. Oh, okay, it's down here. Okay, I'll fix this later. I really don't want to do this now. This is annoying. Anyway, I'll fix this later. I have a snapshot. So this is really annoying now. Anyway, let's go to ref shells. First, let's go to our tmux, take our IP. See, it's these little things that happen while I'm recording that throw me off. Anyway, let's go to Python 3, the shortest one. Let's URL encode it. And see, I'm used to going up top. Now I'm at the bottom. This, we go to refshells.com to generate a reverse shell. Sorry about that, my eyes are itching. And URL encoded. So we take this, we URL encode it, we do bin bash because I like that better. We copy that, and then we potentially have to upload this again because we took too long. Yes, shell like this. Then we go here like that. We listen on port 1234, and we do this again. We can see it's still there. So we paste our reverse shell here like that, and we get a reverse shell. There you go. We are thus the www/data. No, sorry. Yeah, dash data. What can we do from here? Improve our shell. So let's go back into the notes. I should have taken a screenshot of that. Let's do that again, because it was fun. Listen on 1, 2, 3, 4. And here. Still there. Let's do it while it's still alive. Bam, there you go. And then take a screenshot. There you go. We have a reverse shell. That was easy. It's an easy box. Until now, that's quite easy. So now we are officially no longer external, but we are internal. So let's do enumerate and call this enumeration as usual. There you go. And then here we'll do as www-data, because I assume that this is not the main user. So let's go to home. Who else is a user? We have player as player. So what do we do when we are the web server user? There's no user.txt file. So what we do is we go into the root, the web roots. So we go to var www. We have nginx. Let's go to var www. HTML. That's the static page we had. So let's go to cd etc. Instead of Apache 2, we do nginx. Yes. Do we even need to improve our shell? I notice we have a pretty good shell already. But just to show you guys how I usually do that, let's do it. Python 3, and then C imports. No, it's like that. Imports pty.spawn, and then bin bash like that, and then we close that, and then go out and we do STTY raw echo, or is it echo raw? Raw echo. Yeah, no, that's correct. Like that. And then we go back forward, and then we do, I wish I had done it all by heart, but sometimes I still struggle with the muscle memory. Xterm 256 color. Bash. Yeah, our shell hasn't really changed. Yeah. Anyway, so we are inside Nginx. Let's go to Etsy Nginx and see if we can find some sort of config file. Sites enabled. Let's go to sites enabled. Sockplayer.htb and default. Let's cat them both. Like this. We can see two files. Sock player HTTP and defaults. So what do we have? Let's take all of that, copy and paste it here, and make this bigger again, like this. So what do we have? On port 80 we have the Tiny File Manager server. That's what we were dealing with before. And we have sock player. We have a subdomain. Interesting. Okay. We have found a subdomain. Sock where is it? Oh, sock player. The hack the box. Okay, so here first we're going to go back into our hosts and do sock player soccer.hackthebox. So this is a subdomain. What can we do now? We can browse to it. This we can close. This we can close. This we can close. This as well. This as well. This as well. This as well. Let's leave that open. Them two open. Okay. So let's go to http://sock player soccer.hackthebox. We have another page. Great. Now, should we run auto recon on this again? Actually, we should, but I won't. I'll try and wing it. So let's add it to our hosts file. And indeed, we can now browse the new page. Let's go down because the camera will be here. I'm learning from my past videos. Always. You should always consider feedback. So what do we have? We have the home. Yeah, Lorem Ipsum. Could just as well be lorem ipsum. It's static, quite static again. Afghanistan versus Nepal at 7. Time is it? Okay. And Sweden versus Spain at 10. That's quite late for a game. Login. Don't have an account. I don't have an account. Let's say test at testing.com. Tester. Is burp still on? Yes. And password. Test at testing.com. Password. Did I just... There you go. We're in. Okay, so notes. There is a login panel for which we do not have credentials. However, we can create an account. So we created tester, test at testing.com with the password. And what do we have here? We have ticket ID. Okay. Ticket doesn't exist. My ticket is this. So that does exist. Let's go to burp. Oh! Wait. I have to do that again because this is no longer in the scope. Now I have to do all of that again. Wait, let me just refresh. Yes, okay. We have a WebSocket. Oh, I'm not particularly good with WebSockets. Electrics. Let's see. So WebSockets are essentially this utility that web servers use to have continuous communication between the client and server that can be asynchronous and rather fast, and it doesn't have to go through a handshake or some sort of, like, it's quite fast, it's efficient, which is why a lot of websites employ WebSockets. That's as much as my knowledge about WebSockets goes. As far as my knowledge about WebSockets goes. Why is this white and so bright? I thought I set that up to be in dark mode. Anyway, WebSockets. So, a detailed WebSocket connections are established through an initial HTTP handshake, that's first, and are designed to be long-lived, allowing for bidirectional messaging at any time without the need for transactional system. This makes WebSockets particularly advantageous for applications requiring low latency or server-initiated communication, such as live financial data streams. All right. A detailed explanation on establishing WebSocket connections can be accessed here. Let's go there. Let's right away take this and go to our notes and then write down. Okay, so we have some sort of ticketing website that is utilizing WebSockets. And then insert a hyperlink, add external link. That, did that work? Yes. Oh, that worked. Okay. So, and then let's take a screenshot of this here. Because this shows us that here we have a WebSocket. Let's make that red. Like so. There you go. Now, what can we do? Let's go into WebSocket history. There's nothing there. Anyway, let's read for a bit. Before we go into the actual invasion, it's crucial to know what a WebSocket is and different sorts of WebSockets. Hello there. Okay, so I'll definitely put this in the description so that you can read it. I will glance over it quite quickly now, okay? I'll try and find useful information for myself. And then, of course, I'll explain whatever I see. We will look at the WebSockets protocol. Well, I kind of know what WebSockets are, but essentially there's all types of vulnerabilities in WebSockets. And when I saw ID, I immediately think of SQLi, IDORs, maybe even XSS in that sense, in that page. But let's go straight for SQLi, because I like to think that there might be an SQLi here. Oh, let's go back to Soccer like this, and then let's also add this to scope. There you go, both are now in scope. So could there be some sort of SQ? Login. Test at testing.com. Did that kick me out? What was our password? Testing password. Let's create a new account. Testing test.com tester password. There you go. So now, just to be certain, okay, I am not going to do this because it is clearly not showing me everything. So, testing at test.com password. There you go. Okay. So now here we have upgrade to WebSocket and switching protocols. When you see this, you know you are dealing with a WebSocket. This is why I immediately started taking notes of WebSockets when I saw this. And that is the first request and response that I get as soon as I logged in. So now let's go into the WebSocket history. And as you can see, you have some sort of client-server interaction. Namely, we have this, basically the client asking for an ID and the server replying with if the ticket exists or not. Okay, so we can obviously play with this. So let's send this to repeater. And first, let's also take a screenshot of this to tell our notes. We have some very simple client. How should I do this? Like this, server communication. Basically, the client asks for a ticket and the server responds with either it exists, no, with whether it exists or not. Let me go up again so you can read this. With that being said, let's play with it. Let's test for SQLi. So repeater, what can we do? Doesn't exist. Or 1 equals 1, like so. Doesn't exist. Let's do like this. Doesn't exist. Let's take this one away. Ticket exists. Doesn't exist. Okay, we have confirmed SQLi. Because, so essentially what I tried doing here is, first I tried injecting a apostrophe, which is always how I start testing for SQLi, because if it's not blind, then the server will reply with some kind of error or something, right? But obviously it's not giving me any feedback except exists or doesn't exist. So I tried finishing that initial injection with just saying or 1 equals 1 dash dash space dash, because that's just standard SQLi 101. You try this, and if it gives me, I guess, a positive response, essentially what you have to imagine is that in the backend it will say, let me now not fail this, so it will say select ID from some sort of database, from some sort of table, so select ID from tickets, let's say. Is that correct? And then I say, so yeah, that would be the initial SQL command. But then what I say is or 1 equals 1. So basically what I'm saying here is if either one of these two is true, oh, sorry, I said that wrong before. I didn't say if both are correct. It's if either one of them is correct, then it will say ticket exists. Which here is the case. I could also say 2000 or 200 and 200 and it will still say ticket exists. So this is classic SQL injection. The only issue we have is that it's blind. It's not telling me anything else. The way I can prove this is by saying union, and then I will try and link different tables. So what can I do? I can say union 1 doesn't exist, and then I will do comma 2 doesn't exist, and then I'll do comma 3, sorry. Do I have to do it like this? Doesn't exist. Wait, am I doing something wrong here? Comma 5. Wait, union. Oh, okay, that might be why. Union has to be big, capital. So let's go back to 1. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Oh, it's union select. So you test for different tables by saying union select. Now let's try that again. union select one. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Exists. So I know that there's three tables. So essentially what I could do now in a non-blind injection is I could do version at, is it like that? Or version, yeah, at version. So that would be, I'm looking at my nodes for SQL injection. So version, and that would then normally give me some sort of feedback of the version of the SQL database, but because it's blind, it's not giving me anything. So I am kind of forced to use SQL map. And as you guys know, in the OSCP, SQL map is not allowed, but it is what it is. So let's do that. So let's, what have we all done here? Select ID. We have successfully confirmed that there is a SQL vulnerability. And I also want to hurry up because this is already taking a bit of time. Sorry, let's go for some more coffee. Nicaragua, love it. Anyway, how have we confirmed this? By saying or 1 equals 1 and it telling me ticket exists. So here, and then this one as well. Let's just highlight it like this. Given that the server is not giving us any more output, blind SQLi, we are forced to use SQL map, like so. Okay, so let's go to SQL map. SQL map. So we'll do SQL map dash u http // then we'll do wait, what was it? Wait, we are doing, where is it? Here, this one. So this is the URL. And it's not HTTP, it's WS because it's a WebSocket. So like this, I believe. Yes, and then let's do SQL map help just to be sure. Data, is it dash data? Yes, it is dash data equals, and then what is the data? WebSockets, this is the data. Does this work? Yes, okay, that works. And then what we're going to do is dash batch, because I don't want to have to input all the time if I am certain, blah, blah, blah. And then because it's hack the box, let's do level 5 and risk as well at 3, because those find all kinds of injections whichever they are. Because okay, so essentially if you're testing on a real system, then you have to start with the level very low, because otherwise you will first of all overrun the server, you can bring the server down and SOC will notice you. But hack the box, I just want it to be quick and I don't want to be waiting or anything, and I want to find all of the various injections if there are many. So let's just go with this. Is this everything? I believe that is everything. So backend is MySQL. So let's also do dbs equals MySQL. Did I? Let's just do MySQL like this. Yeah, see, it's case sensitive. MySQL map dbs. It is -- dbs. So is it MySQL like this? Oh, sorry. It's not dbs. It's dbms. MS. There you go. Like that. Might not be injectable. Okay, I did something wrong. Let's see. JSON-like ID. I think there's something wrong with the data here. Should I just do... Let's go online and see. WebSockets, SQL map, ID. SQL map over WebSockets. Automating blind SQL injection. That seems to be correct. It's always in the URL. Mine is not in the URL, it's data. Pen testing WebSockets. Okay, so data. Oh, did I? Oh, okay, that might be my mistake there. So let's do this. That looks more like it. Oh, and that worked right away. Confirming MySQL, the backend is MySQL. Time-based blind. That will take time, won't it? So let's do dbs. By the way, we have this, which I will copy and paste here. We have a time-based blind SQL injection vulnerability. Okay, so as you can see, it is printing, but this is going to take time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward and resume when this is done. Okay, so we are back, and I am also just copying this into exploit, and we have credentials. I've just pasted them here and I've cleaned the terminal. So let's continue. This actually took quite a bit of time So, but we're finally done with it. So, let's try and wait. Okay, so first, these are credentials. So let's take this, loot. This is the password, I guess, and the username, loot. There you go. So let's try SSH player at VIP and the password. And we are in. ls user.text. Let's take a screenshot of this. Loot. There you go. Okay, so let's winspect. I've coined this term, winspect. So that stands for who, what, where. Okay, so who am I? ID. Who am I still? That's like who. And then what? Sorry, I need to know this a bit more. I wrote it down. So who am I and ID belongs to who. Host name is what. So what's the system and everything. And then if config, that's where am I? There you go. And then basically we do sudo l, and that is also part of the where. And I'm only joking, I haven't coined this, but it's essentially for me to remember the few commands that I do manually. So let's take those, and then there's a few more I can do manually. Let's go to internal enumeration as player. There you go. What else can we do? Let's go into my notes. Linux privilege escalation. There you go. So PS, yeah, let's look at what is running the different ports. Like this, copy that. What ports are running? So we have the database, which we just exploited. We have the web server. We have port 3000, which I do not know what it is. Not important for now. Yeah, whatever. And then what else? Let's look at our cron jobs. Hourly. And let's look at weekly. But yeah, nothing there. You know what? Let's just run linpiece. So let's go to privesc and then locate linpiece. Take this and then copy this to here, and then host the server. Go up. We get HTTP. Copy. Thousands linpiece.sh. I should move this to TMP because we try to work out of TMP always. There you go. And then let's give that permissions and run it. We transfer linpiece.sh over to the target machine for enumeration. So, what do we have? Sudo version is up to date. Kernel exploits. I love PwnKit. We've used that once, but I doubt it's going to be again. Anyway, we're not going to use it either way. Then, Integrate interesting writable files. Let's put this into main screen like that. Nothing there. These are texts. SGID. SUID. These are usually interesting. GitHub files. Wait, did it? SUID? SGID? Wait, did it show the SUID? Oh, I completely skipped those. Okay. These are quite standard, I think. This one isn't standard. Do as. What is do as? GTFO bins, GitHub, do as. Nothing there. What is do as? Okay, so let's take these. I would have run that. That is also part of the standard. Okay, let's do it differently. So we will use, where is it? Here, this, like that. And then we'll copy this to my notes. These are all the binaries with the SUID bit set. SUID bit set binaries. There you go. And then we have local bin do as. What is that? So let's say man do as. Execute commands as another user. Interesting. So it's essentially like sudo. Well, isn't that perfect? Because we don't know what do as is. Okay, so it's essentially like sudo. The do as utility executes the given command as another user. Okay, can we do something with this? Do as privilege escalation. Exploit nodes. Let's see. Do as executes arbitrary commands as another user. It's similar to sudo, like we said. Do as conf is interesting to privilege escalation. So let's do this. Let's go into my notes, and since we have never seen do as with the SUID bit set, we Google to see if there are any interesting privesc vectors there. And there are. So let's try and do this. User local. Okay, so this is the config file. Cat. Permit no pass player as root. Oh, so player can execute as root the command user bin dstat. What is user bin dstat? Okay, what is dstat? Man, dstat. Let's go one after the other. So, first of all, in the config, in the doas.conf file, it says that we can user player can run dstat user bin dstat as root, if I understand that correctly. And dstat is a versatile tool for generating system resource statistics. So let's see if there is sudo privilege escalation against dstat, because we can run that as sudo. And there is. Yes, okay. So this is probably how we are going to escalate our privileges. Amazing. Root incoming, boys and girls. Given that we can execute dstat as root, we can utilize the privesc path shown on. So let's try that. Echo import OS. Okay, what does it say exactly? Yeah, let's just keep it like this. Call share dstat xxx. Do I have to? So if the binary is allowed to run as superuser by sudo, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be used to access the file system, escalate or maintain privileged access. Dstat xxx, let's say pawned. Okay. And then sudo. But it's not sudo, it is user local bin doas. So we have to do sudo this and then user bin dstat. I have gotten used to always using the full path because it could be that look, it could be that if I say which dstat. Okay, so here it's not the case. So let's do which doas user local bin. Okay, so here it's just correct. I can just do doas and then dstat. But it could be that the binary in path is a different one than the one that's vulnerable. But let's just see if this works. Sudo dstat xxx dash dash xxx, and the dash dash, the xxx was pawned. So let's do pawned like this. Yes, that should work. So sudo doas dstat pawned. No. So see, let's do the full path. And then let's do user like this. Oh. Player as root. What does it say here? Do as you root. Should I do it like that? Do as you root. I believe it's this. And it is. ID. We are root. Nice. Who am I? Root. If config. And then ls. Let's go to roots. And there we are. Yeah, that worked. Amazing. No, let's not take it like this. Let's do that again to get a cleaner shell. Like this and like this, and then who am I? Root cd to root, and then ls. There you go. Take a screenshot, and there we go. We have successfully rooted Soccer, pawned Soccer, and we are root. That was a rather easy box, I must say, but I can notice that my knowledge is definitely getting solidified and building up on itself, and certain things are getting easier, like for example the whole reverse shell on the website and everything. So what we did was we enumerated the machine, and we found a web server on port 80. We found a directory which linked to Tiny File Manager, where we found the documentation online on GitHub and default credentials. Then we used these default credentials to log in, found a upload functionality where we could upload PHP to a directory where we had permissions, because we didn't have permissions on all of them. Using that, we were able to execute PHP code and thus get a reverse shell. Using that reverse shell, we then recollected that the server was running Nginx, so we went to the etc Nginx directory where we usually have the configuration files, and the sites enabled. In the sites enabled file, we found a subdirectory which was socplayer.soccer.htb, added this to our hosts, and we were thus able to navigate to that subdomain, sorry. On that subdomain, we were able to create on that web server, we were able to create a user account and log in. There we had WebSockets being used by the web server and that WebSocket was vulnerable to SQLi. Unfortunately, we were forced to do SQL map because I say unfortunately because it's not allowed in OSCP, but it was a blind SQLi, so we had no other choice. Then we were able to enumerate the database, find a user and a password, SSH into it, enumerate on the internal system as player, we found some binaries with the set UID bits enabled. One of them was do as, which we had never seen. Turns out it's kind of like a sudo for FreeBSD operating system, so we can essentially use it as sudo, so execute a command in the shell in the stead, or using the permissions of another user. And because we were able to do that, inside of the configuration file of do-as, it said that we can run dstat, which is essentially like as if we did sudo -l. We were able to look into the configuration of do-as, and it said dstat can be run as root. We then went to gtfobins.com, where we found that dstat was exploitable by using this little fancy technique, and also this page helped us with that, and thus we got root and pawned soccer. Nice. This has been another fun box. A bit longer video, but that's okay. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Write down in the comment section. I love to interact with you guys. It's been fun. I'll be uploading another box, I think, in the next coming days. Keep this going, and also heavily preparing for OSCP, because I will be taking that soon. More on that when it's time. This has been Jimmy with Bitesize Security. Have a nice rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Peace.